We're going to discuss the Dragon Auras cycle.
Yeah.
So this is a cycle from the 2003 expansion set Scourge. This is a set that is important to me because it is the last old frame expansion sets. And at the moment, I'm only currently accumulating old frame cards. I'm only putting together decks for old frame formats. It's also the last expansion set that is pre-modern legal.
And I actually found these because someone was talking about them in the comments of Corona False God, who I have as my commander right now.
Okay.
They were talking about how they work well with her. And probably, other commanders as well.
I was reading a little bit about these. I was also reading a little bit about Scourge. And these cards, they fit with... I learned that there were a couple themes to Scourge. I knew it was a dragon theme set. But it also had another theme, which was cost matters or size matters. Which, as far as I can tell, is just essentially a theme around playing large casting cost spells.
Giving you like an incentive to
yeah,
play some of those bigger casting cost creatures that a lot of people shy away from because they're
expensive, they printed a lot of powerful things, but they made them high casting cost, and they printed cards that worked with other high casting cost cards. So the first one, Alex. First of the Dragon Auras, aka Dragon Enchantments, is Dragon Fangs. Dragon Fangs is one colorless, one green enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has trample. When a creature with converted mana cost 6 or more comes into play, you may return Dragon Fangs from the graveyard to play, enchanting that creature. I like this in green. I like these cards, especially in green. I'll tell you why. Because there's tons of small 1/1 1-drops that you can play in green. So first turn, you play your 1-drop. Second turn, you play Dragon Fangs.
Yeah.
So you've gotten use out of your 1-drop creature and this enchantment creature on the curve, turns 1 and 2, you get to play it. It's good early game use, especially in decks and in colors that have lots of 1-drops. So I like having a 1/1 on turn 1 and a 2/2 on turn 2. That's good for me. And then green also has a lot of big creatures, big baddies. They're very common in green. There's a lot of ramp in green, so they print a lot of high casting cost, big buff creatures in green. So if you put this, when this card's in green or in a green deck, there's a good chance you're going to get use out of it late game or early game and late game. That's what I'm getting at. I like that fact. This guy has a rating of 3.368 on Gatherer. Not bad. That sounds to me like a playable, casual enchantment. That's a pretty good rating for an enchantment. When I see an enchant creature that has a rating approaching 3.5, it signals to me that people appreciate it, that they play it. So I like Dragon Fangs. I can see myself playing this guy. The only thing is, the creature has to be wiped off the board. But like I said, put them on your Land of War Elf. Put them on your Birds of Paradise to make your Birds of Paradise 1/2, and then you got a flyer you can attack with. People want to get rid of those cards. They want to blow those cards off the board. So probably they're going to do a little bit of work for you early in the game, and it's probably also going to end up in your graveyard at some point because somebody's going to want to kill those creatures.
And I would like this in mixed, black-green. You could put it on some, putting this on a Hypnotic Spectre would be pretty wicked. Or a creature that you can sacrifice eventually, use them, and then if you you're having trouble getting the Dragon Fangs into the graveyard, you could sacrifice it. Probably won't be too hard because you could just suicide with them, but I kind of like that. Anyways.
Yeah, I like the idea of putting them on something you can sacrifice. Second card and the Dragon Auras cycle.
Second card.
Is the white one. It is Dragon Scales. Dragon Scales has a casting cost of 1 colorless, 1 white, again, an enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+2, and attacking does not cause it to tap. Again, when a creature with converted mana cost 6 or more comes into play, you may return Dragon Scales from your graveyard to play, enchanting that creature. I love Vigilance, so this gives your creatures Vigilance. It's probably my favorite ability for a creature. Maybe I go back and forth a little bit between Vigilance and Trample, but I love Vigilance.
Yeah, I like this a lot because Vigilance is great. and it beefs him up like +1/+2, so it makes the creature harder to kill, give him some survivability and some power.
And I don't think you usually see vigilance on really big creatures. So this is great for giving a vigilance to a big baddie. You can attack and he's still there as a blocker. So people aren't going to want to come at you because you still got something huge, something buffed up, something given +1/+2 now. They're available as a blocker even if you attack with them. 3.067 on Gatherer. Might be my least favorite of the cycle.
Oh, really? Okay.
I have to think about it. I have to think about the next one. The next one might be my least favorite. The next one, Alex, in the cycle is Dragon Wings. This is the blue Dragon Aura card from Scourge. It is a casting cost again of 1 colorless, 1 blue. It is again an enchant creature. So enchanted creature has flying. Not amazing. But you can cycle it. Cycling 1 colorless, 1 blue. That's what I love about this one, really, that you cycle it. You can get it into your graveyard so easy. So it's like it's ready to do its thing as soon as you cycle it.
Yeah, you cycle it, get the card, and then it gets onto your creature for free.
So you put it where it needs to be in order to do its thing, which is in the graveyard. You can do that. You don't have to wait for your opponent to do it. And you get to draw a card. But its ability is underwhelming. The enchant creature, it's not as exciting to me as the abilities that all the other ones give.
And
but
if you have a 6 mana cost creature, is it going to have flying or not already? Like, I know they don't all, but if you're already playing blue,
most of the big blue creatures might already have flying.
Yeah, the blue ones will. I think you're going to be using this, in a multicolored deck on your non-blue creatures.
Leviathan doesn't. I think Palicron has flying. Since I'm an old man, an old man Magic player, my mind just immediately goes to Mahamodi Jin. I'm like, yeah, it flies already. 3.171 on Gatherer. Slightly higher rating than the white. I agree with that. I do give it a slightly higher rating than the white because of its cycling ability. I like, when I looked on Gatherer, that somebody mentioned Island of Wak-Wak. This is an absurd combo. For people who don't know, everybody probably knows Island of Wak-Wak, but for people who don't know, Island of Wak-Wak is a land from Arabian Nights. You tap it to reduce target flying creature's power to 0. So they're like, have Dragon Wings in your deck. You cycle it. You get it in your graveyard. You play your Island of Wak-Wak. Now, anytime your opponent plays something with 6 mana cost or more, you can say, okay, I've decided to equip your creature with my Dragon Wings, and then I'm going to tap my Wak-Wak. It's not going to do any damage to me. So you can give it to your opponent and Wak-Wak the shit out of them, Alex. I always liked Island of Wak-Wak because it seems like a stupid card to me and it has a goofy name. Side note, this is why I hate the reserve list. I hate that you can't play a goofy card like Island of Wak-Wak at the moment because they're $300 to $400 to pick up. You can't. Yeah. You have to proxy it. I know you could proxy everything, but it's ridiculous that you can't just get yourself a stupid, cheap reprint of Island of Wak-Wak and play your stupid Dragon Wings Island of Wak-Wak deck to irritate your friend who likes to play a lot of big creatures against you. It drives me crazy. And it's all happened, the reserve list has stuck, and these buyouts started like around 2018, 2017, 2018, and they've just gotten worse and worse over time because there are people with a lot of extra cash, and they're just hoarding this stuff, and it's absurd. I would have no problem playing. I mean, this is vintage cardboard, right? They're rare. Let's look at this as the first edition, first printing of Island of Wak-Wak. I would have no problem with this card being $50 to $100. Mm-hmm. It should be for a popular game, an old early edition, something, a first printing of something. It's going to be more expensive than, the stuff you can open up in packs now. But the way the price has spiked since 2018 in response to what we know are buyouts is absurd. Yeah. And Wizards of the Coast has let this thing get out of hand with the reserve list. I understand the initial impetus for the reserve list. People put a lot of money into those cards. They were upset about the fact that the value of the cards collapse upon reprint when Chronicles first came out.
Yep.
But now there's just so much market manipulation by older wealthy collectors that they're skewing these values to an insane degree.
All I had to do was just
step in, wizards.
Correctly and carefully, manage the reprinting of things.
Exactly.
And then maybe a tall order, but like if they had just correctly and carefully managed the reprinting of things, they wouldn't need like a blanket like prohibition on themselves from doing something.
That's a good point. And then we wouldn't be living in a world where Island of Wak-Wak is $400. Come on.
Or give you an archaeologist or a whole bunch of other stuff that has just been cornered for no reason.
It would be nice to have a cheap reprint of a Wak-Wak available so I could make, like I said,
a goofy deck with it.
A stupid Dragon Wings Island of Wak-Wak deck.
Yeah.
Next card in the Dragon Auras cycle is Dragon Shadow. This is the black aura.
Sounds like it.
Casting cost is 1 colorless, 1 black.
I love the consistency across casting costs here.
Like all the others, is an enchant creature.
By the way, I love the art on this. I like how
I know it's good.
The little goblin is like sneaking through all like the crazy battle because he has like the big dragon shadow like scaring everyone away from him.
I was thinking the same thing, and you know what I thought immediately when I saw this.
What? Something about Squee?
Gabagoos.
Oh yeah. Okay.
This could go on my Gabi Zomblin Gabagoo deck. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has fear.
Great.
Alex, I think fear is an underappreciated ability. And I say this as somebody who I think I've never played fear ever.
I always was fascinated by that sort of and there's some similar mechanics like shadow.
Yeah. I'm considering that the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a few things like that. And I always liked it and wanted to like work that into decks. I even always kind of liked land walking, even though I know it's kind of crappy usually. But
unless it's Island Walk.
I like that, I like that being able to like send creatures through, especially creatures that have an effect when they attack you, like a hypnotic specter that makes them discard a card, or like a creature that maybe gets bigger if it damages the, opposing player.
Yeah.
I've always liked that sort of, I don't know, combo or that idea with fear and cards like that.
Or poison counters, maybe. Although in this case, it's like it's getting strapped to a big baddie. So you're probably not dealing with like a poison deck. You're just trying to end the game with a big fatty.
But in black, like this goes so great on a hypnotic specter early game, and then on like, your big baddie later.
Yeah. Fear, shadow. I should make a fear shadow deck. Never played it. You also agree it's probably an underrated mechanic. Seems like it should be a bigger deal than it is. Maybe it is a huge deal, and people are like, "What are you talking about?" But our play group just never played it, and you and I never really built decks around it. 3.702 on Gatherer. So all that to say, I remember when I saw that, I'm like, maybe fear isn't as underappreciated as I thought. I wrote that.
That's okay. I think it was when we played. There were not too many fear cards or good creatures with it, so it might have been limited.
Also, fear, the original fear, is 2 black. This is 1 colorless.
Yeah. So hell black. Way better.
Talk about a strictly better version of something.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying? Alex, the final Dragon Aura in the Dragon Aura cycle. This might have been the one that you were thinking about putting on Corona. Maybe. It is Dragon Breath.
Possibly, because it's good.
It is the red one. Its casting cost is 1 colorless, 1 red. It is a flame. It is a fire-breathing pig.
You're correct, actually. Yes, I remember now. Yeah, look at that pig breathing that fire.
Yeah, I think this one's the best of the bunch.
I agree.
It's one thing that gives it fire breathing. Fire breathing existed as a card. Actually, this is a better, strictly better fire breathing too, because isn't fire breathing 1 colorless, one red?
I think it's just 1 red, but I might be wrong.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, it's just 1 red.
It's just 1 red. Yeah, it's just 1 red. Okay, so it's one thing to have fire breathing. I don't think I have no memory of ever actually playing the card fire breathing.
No one plays fire breathing. Maybe
I
some.
probably
I can't believe that they do.
I probably did at some point, like when I only owned like 60 cards, right? When I was starting to play Magic the Gathering, and you just made a deck out of anything you had at the moment. But after that phase, never even looked at fire breathing. I just played with my Dragon Whelps and my Siobhan Dragon.
Yeah, some creatures have fire breathing, and that's good. Even then, I feel like they've always been hesitant to they've always been really hesitant to give that mechanic to a creature, who's like strong and well designed with cost and everything like that.
Yeah.
They always seem to put a limit on it. You can only spend 1 this way each turn, or 3 this way each turn, or if you spend more than 1, the creature dies. They seem to be really hesitant to send things out there with fire breathing as far as creature design goes. And I've always been kind of like, why? Like, I don't think it's that strong. Like, let some creatures have fire breathing.
Or they do what they did with the Killer Bees when they really neutered it, which is like 3 to get out, and then it's a 0/1 flyer. So like anytime you want to even attack for 1 damage or block a Hypnotic Spectre, you're constantly paying all your mana. Your Killer Bees just suck up all your mana. And I know it's green and you have ramp, but I always want to make Killer Bees work. It's hard, Alex.
Yeah, I saw in the notes that you put that you thought it was the best, and I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say the same thing when we brought it up. I think it's the best.
The haste.
Exactly. It's not even the fire breathing, it's the haste. And it's the fact that this card with haste automatically gets popped onto a creature as soon as you summon it.
It's going to be attached to something very big, because it's going to be 6 casting cost or more. And that thing that's very big, the turn you play, it's coming at you right away. And I wonder if people play this card a lot. I think that it would be best in a Reanimator deck of some sort. And I think that it might play a part in some like pre-modern deck that I can't remember the name of at the moment. You get your cards in your graveyard in some way. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do that. And then there's certain things like Suture Ghoul. I don't know what people use this for. I think this is like a big creature that's in some Reanimator decks. 4 colorless, 3 red, zombie with trample.
Black.
As Suture, I said 3 red, 3 black. Trample. As Suture Ghoul enters the battlefield, exile any number of creature cards from your graveyard. Sutured Ghoul's power is equal to the total power of the exiled cards, and its toughness is equal to their total toughness.
Oh, okay. So it's not just the number of cards, it's their total power and their total.
So you have some sort of deck where you get a bunch of stuff into your graveyard. You finally come to the Sutured Ghoul. You get this out some way. You have your graveyard full of creatures that you can exile. And if you strap a Dragon's Breath or in some way give this guy haste, it's pretty much game over, because he's also a trampler.
But yeah, I like this one a lot. I like the haste. They might even be forgetting about it. This card's in your graveyard. As soon as you bring out the big thing, it pops back up. Put the haste on it. And it has fire breathing now. Pow.
So all these cards are cheap too. They're like, I think they were all less than 25 cents, if not less than 25 cents, around there. They're all commons. They're all from Scourge, which is a cheap set in general. And they're all good. I mean, I don't know if they're going to make it into like any of the decks that I'm making that I want to be like my most competitive decks, but I could see myself putting these into a lot of different things.
We've already talked about try them out in things. They're fun.
I see a place for Dragon Shadow, Dragon Breath, and Dragon Fangs. And if Wizards ever does a Magic 30 style thing for Arabian Nights or other expansions, and that price of Island of Wak-Wak comes plummeting to the ground, crashing to the ground, then who knows? Maybe a Dragon Wings Island of Wak-Wak deck will appear.
Dragon Wings Island of Wak-Wak combo is the one you're like fixating on here.